I'm a really big believer that anything we are talking about or working on with our horse, we can also apply to the rider. And any principles that we're working on with the horse can also be applied to the rider. Now, sometimes you do have to tweak it slightly, hey? But I do think that it's important as riders to understand that if you think something is important for your horse, it's probably important for you. And right now, we've been working on the half halt. And again, I think the half halt is something that riders need to get on board with as well, not just the horse. And today, I want to show you how you can do that, but in a more kind of modern way. Okay, let's dive in. Hey there, and welcome to the Daily Strides podcast. My name is Lorna Leeson. I'm an equestrian trainer and coach, and I work with riders from all over the world, helping them to go from feeling a bit overwhelmed or even a bit plateaued in their riding to moving forward, making progress, training their horse, especially if they don't have a regular trainer or coach working with them. And today I want to talk about one of those principles that I feel is so important, and yet we don't do it. Now, I want you to picture working with your horse, and let's say you're there riding and you go around a corner, okay? And whether you're in the arena or whether you're on the trail, you're taking the corner and you can just feel that things, there's a little bit of a speed wobble, okay? There's a little bit of a whoa, that didn't feel like it should. Now, what do you do in that situation? Do you keep just kind of lashing forward and go on, hack on, and eventually the horse will come out of it and ride through it and will be grand? You can, and sometimes the horse does, but more often than not, what ends up happening in that situation is the horse gets heavier and heavier onto the forehand, things become more imbalanced, and you never really get to the point where you and the horse were before you went into that corner. Versus, you feel the speed wobble, you're like, oh, felt that, and you half halt, and you rebalance, and you redirect energy, you gather energy, you kind of get the two of you and your horse back on the same hymn sheet, and then you move forward together. And very often when you do that, the actual initial thing that you had, okay, whether it's the rhythm or the relaxation or the suppleness or whatever, okay, it's not lost. Yeah, there was a bit of a wobbly moment there where you could have lost it, but you brought it back soon enough. You brought it back before everything fell apart. You didn't have to go and re-establish. You were able to maintain through the half halt. Now, what if you could do this for you, the rider, in your riding and training? You see, I think that with the half halt, if we think about the half halt as just being this little bit of a whoop, like a stall the ball, okay? It's like a pause. It's not really a pause, but it's like just a quick like, hold on, whoop, a little bit there now, steady up, okay? It allows you then to actually connect again with what you want to do. And I think that when you can begin to apply this to your growth, to your learning, to your training, to how you're showing up for your horse, you're going to be able to do this better. It is so tempting when you feel the speed wobble, okay, to crack on, to push on, to put on more leg and just say, okay, I'll just quickly get us out of this, okay? It's a bit like being on the bicycle and you feel a bit wobbly, and what do? You pedal faster, okay? Or you're out for the walk and you trip up, what do? You kind of run on a bit, okay? It's a bit like doing that, but so often when we are talking about our training and our riding and just how we are mentally showing up with focus and with intention for our horses, that is not the right thing to do. What we need to learn to do is to give ourselves a bit of a mental half halt, okay? We need to be able to say like, whoa, stall the ball, okay? And not judge ourselves, but be able to assess ourselves, assess the situation. And then from the assessment, just like with the half halt where you're saying, whoa, steady up there, buddy, okay? You can then move forward correctly and at least have a fighting chance of maintaining what it is that you've already established. I am a big believer in doing reviews and planning in your riding. I've been talking about it for years. Like, hey, we've been doing this since 2013 and I've been talking about this since then. I think it's so important. I cannot tell you how important it is. But I think as well that in this day and age, there's actually so much more that we can do. And there's so many ways that we can make this not only easier for ourselves and more accessible for ourselves and quicker for ourselves, but also we can get somebody to keep track of things for us without having to actually pay somebody to keep track of things for us. What am I talking about? I'm talking about AI. I think that when you can begin to use AI with your riding, okay? And I know that a lot of you now, I know you might be saying, hold on now, Lorna, come on. And you switch off, okay? And you're thinking, AI and horse riding, how could that work together? I'm not talking about AI to replace you or to replace your coach or to replace your trainer. I'm just putting it out there that potentially the AI could help you notice things a little bit quicker, okay? So that you could halt on the direction you're going and actually recommit, re-establish, get back on, okay, to where you really do want to go without just running off down the wrong path and then finding yourself down there and be like, oh, jeepers, tonight we've gone a bit AWOL with what we actually wanted to do. So what could you do with this? So I've been testing this for myself the past probably 7 months now, okay? And like diligently testing it. Not I've played with it, but I was really like, it was like a little experiment, okay? And what I loved was that, first of all, it's so easy to use, because before this point, I would have spent a lot of time writing or typing on my phone or writing in a writing journal, and then having to actually go back over all of that, okay? And just the typing and the writing on itself can take an awful lot of time. Now, I can just open an app on my phone. I can speak into it. Like I can have maybe 3 questions and I can say, what worked today? Okay, so today we were working on blah. And I found that what worked really well was this. What didn't feel quite right was that. And then what I want to focus on next time is the other. Okay, and I can then break that down just by talking to it and tell it, I want you to help me to figure this out. Give me a bit of an overview, put it together nicely for me, wrap it up with a bow if you want, okay? And then tell me back what I've just told you, but in a way that I can use to keep myself accountable. You're not letting the AI tell you what to do, okay? You're using it as a tool. You're telling it what you want, but you're asking it to kind of package it much more easily readable, easily accessible. And when you do it over time, okay, so every ride, if you were to apply this, to begin picking out patterns. And AI is great at seeing patterns. That's really what it does. That's how it works, okay? It sees patterns and it just kind of notices them and then uses that, if you want knowledge, okay? Knowledge. It uses the patterns that it sees to come up with different outcomes and to come up with different answers, okay? Now, whether they're all right or wrong, I don't know. And again, don't let AI tell you what to do. You're in charge. You're feeding it and you're just saying, say this back to me in a way that's going to make it so much more easier for me to actually A, understand, and B, then long-term to see patterns with. So inside of Connection, we're actually doing this for the next 3 months on our live review and planning call. So every month we have a live review and planning call and we're doing these trainings. And I've been given the riders specific prompts to put in and to play with and to, again, experiment with and to kind of see how it goes for them. And the feedback I've gotten is so good. And what I've noticed in myself, and I'm pretty good at noticing patterns. Like it's what I do. I'm good at that. I can see it. But it has actually, and this was again, just from my own experience, it has picked up patterns that I've not even noticed. And I was like, oh, you're right. Look at that. Huh. Well, we can take that with us going forward into our planning. And again, this is why you're doing it. You're not doing it to play with AI, and you're not doing it to get this big long list of all the things you're doing wrong and all the things that are going a bit sideways for you. You're doing it so that when you're planning this week's work with your horse, you actually know what needs to be worked on. So often with riders, what we tend to do is we have this kind of goal. So let's say you want to make I don't know, cantering a track, okay? That's your goal. And you're like, okay, great. But then you're not noticing where you're losing your balance, well, you and your horse, maybe around corners on the left rein. I'm making this up, okay? But you're not noticing that. And what you're doing is actually pushing on, but then you're finding, oh, sugar. Every time we're approaching a fence, when we're coming off the left rein, our chances of success are like really low because of that speed wobble. Now, just like a half halt, if you began to work on the half halt through that corner, you're going to have greater success getting over the fence successfully on the left rein after the corner, okay? And just like with your riding, if you can notice that it's the half halt, you can mentally half halt, you can mentally refocus, mentally become aware of what's going on, and then from there, do something to actually keep you and your horse on the track, on the course, on the line, okay? I'm using jumping, but you can apply this to anything that you actually want to ride in order to get the result that you want. And it's these little half halts, mental half halts, okay, that you're applying regularly using modern technology. They can make such a difference. Okay, so if you would like help with this, make sure you go over to stridesforsuccess.com/join. Join us inside of Connection. It is a brand new experience. Everything has changed. I'm telling you, if you were there before and you didn't like it, try it again. You're going to love it, okay? It's totally changed. But yeah, do that. And then the other thing you can do right now is if you want to book a package of 5 virtual lessons where we will work together. And all I mean by virtual lessons is I'm on my computer, you're in the arena, there's a thing following you around, and look, you don't even need the thing to follow you around, okay, Pivo, you don't need anything like that. We can just use a Zoom call, but we can work together then for 5 lessons that you can take anytime between now and the end of January next year, and we can actually work you through. I can be your half halt, eh? I'll be the person saying, whoa there, whoa Tonto, steady up there a bit, and we get you back on the track. So you can find all the details to all of those in the show notes to this episode, and I would love for you to let me know how you're playing with AI and how it goes for you in your riding. Okay, I'm going to leave it there. Have a fantastic week. Keep well, and I'll chat to you soon. Be good. Bye.